So, Steve, have you heard anything about this?
No.
Oh, we should watch the video. There is a video. So, CEO Taku is a big anime tournament in Florida. The developers for DNF Duel actually had an update for the game.
Yeah, get ready for this!
Yeah, bitch! What's up, man? Immediately I was like,
in your face, Simmons! In your face! I knew that shit was gonna happen! This motherfucker always doubted me! He doubted the shit! He doubted it! And look what happened! I knew they were gonna do something! Let's see, what did they announce though? Please tell me some new characters. Please tell me they give me some... Please tell me they unnerfed Grappler.
so this is subtitled. So
Did they unnerf Grappler?
Because watch, this is subtitled. So the game is not done, which is all I wanted.
That's what I'm saying.
The devs are still working on it.
It doesn't seem like they would do something like
It
this.
doesn't, but I mean, it was weird. So hello, DNF Duel adventurers. This is Kodani from the production, and he's the production director at Arc System Works.
Okay.
Thank you for playing DNF Duel. Bowing.
Yeah.
We bowed right there.
All right.
Thank you for joining CEO Taku for the intense battles. On behalf of the DNF Duel team, we are excited to see your matches and nerf stuff.
Yes, and destroy your favorite
If need
characters. And to ruin your favorite characters.
There's still more to come through. I'm excited for many upcoming intense battles. But first, I apologize for the trouble caused by the bugs in the game.
Oh, bugs.
We have an update planned for the end of September to fix the bugs. Screen freezes, online matches, input issues on Steam. Yeah, these are kind of like things that have been permeating.
Yeah.
We're looking into other bugs and have future updates planned. Future updates!
Yeah!
Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, wait for it. I'd like to talk about the future of battle balance updates.
Here we go.
We're planning an update for late December.
Okay.
Tuning all the characters to make the game more fun for everyone.
What does that mean?
Our direction is to add only buffs for all characters. Oh boy. It'll take some time, but we'll share more details later. So please keep an eye out.
Fucking buffs for everybody.
Finally, we're currently working on something other than a balance patch.
Okay. New characters?
Due to the circumstances, it'll take some time before we have this ready. We're working every day with confidence that it'll satisfy the players. So get excited.
Yeah.
Steve's excited. I'm excited. Continue to show support for the players throughout the Arc World Tour. So once again, DNF Duel is a part of the Arc World Tour still going forward.
That's cool.
And these people are placing and qualifying. Thank you. That's it.
You get a balance pack.
Yeah! Balance pack. Hey, it's buffs, man. It's buffs for everyone. So Grappler's coming back.
All right, listen.
He's gonna get buffs. They're changing the shit. He's
So here's the thing.
Buffs, man.
Here's the thing. I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Right?
I'm happy.
I come from
Okay,
I come from the MVCI era where we just like it was just nothing
Yes.
like a couple months later.
Yeah.
So the
You
fact
get a
that
balance
the fact
pack
that they're
fine.
in
they're-
December, yay!
I can't wait.
the fact that there is something to bring everyone back to the game,
Yes.
right? To actually try out new stuff,
Yes.
to try out new crazy things. Like, are they going to open up combo opportunities? Are they going to open up mobility? There could be overall, like,
Buffs
obviously
for every character.
buffs for everybody
so
is a
universal crazy
and
shit.
just to actually explain how significant that is, this is the thing that has been touted in the industry since Street Fighter V talked about it in 2015 Evo.
Yeah.
The thing where we are going to approach our character balance by not nerfing characters instead we'll be buffing others.
Yeah, yeah.
Capcom was the first ones to say this, and they just lied. They just lied. And everyone kind of has been saying this for the past, ever since the patch era of fighting games has happened over the past, like, post Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, why don't they buff characters instead of nerf them? As every balance patch comes out, and there's obviously a huge list of nerfs and some buffs for some characters, right? So here's the crazy part. Unless this dude is just freaking lying, they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
Like to sort of explain the cultural significance of what they're talking about, they've already nerfed several characters in the game. The last balance patch that happened was pretty much toning down
a lot of
Swiftmaster and Striker and especially Swiftmaster, right?
Yeah,
and toning other characters.
Yeah.
if they commit to this, right, and their goal is to make the game more fun and buff everybody, then obviously some characters are going to be getting more buffs than others. But still, at the same time, if they do commit to that, that has never been done before. Here's the thing that everyone has always been asking and complaining about: why do they just nerf characters? Why don't they just buff everyone? This game is literally doing it. Well, so all I have to say is that if they commit to it and it is still a fun game, as a result, it'll be interesting.
I'm going to say he's not lying, because he bowed to us like 7 times.
This is true.
So there's no possible way he
was
lying.
Commanding respect.
Exactly.
At several points.
He bowed at least 7 times. So there's no way he's lying.
So that's actually interesting, right? I'm super excited to see, like, oh God, what are they gonna do to Troubleshooter? Because barely anybody's fucking playing Troubleshooter anymore right now.
Right, exactly.
Obviously Vanguard is like really rough and a lot of his base things just don't work. So I'm super curious where things are gonna go with the roster. I'm excited for it.
Don't forget, Simmons, he did say that something else was coming along the way. He wasn't specific, but he did say something else is coming along the way. So you're a little in the snippet of, it's just balance. He said something else is coming.
It's taking them 6 months to do a balance patch, and then sometime.
I want to talk about that.
He wouldn't even come out.
There's a conversation to be had there.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even come out and say new characters.
No, he didn't.
Battle pass.
Didn't say
what it was. Said it was something that was beyond the balance patch.
The real question here,
they're working hard on.
real question here that we all should be worried about is what the fuck is taking them so long?
Okay, so here's the theories, and here's my immediate: the fact that they won't say what it is, the fact that there still is no characters, the fact that there's no announced characters, is all a very weird situation. Almost like they didn't plan on adding characters during development, because here's a shocker to everyone. As soon as a fighting game's core roster is done, they immediately start working on DLC. And they start working on more DLC immediately after
they
that.
Anticipate
so that by the time the game is out, they've already been working on DLC for several months of a lot of characters. And that usually goes by a lot faster than core roster because they know what they're doing, you know? They made a whole game already. So the fact that DNF Duel didn't have that, the fact that this game came out and seemingly did not already have like a buffer, like wiggle room of new characters that they will be adding, no season pass, no character pass, no nothing, was immediately very weird, because that does not follow any fighting game development over the past 10 years. Like, you start making your DLC characters immediately.
Here's the thing. Their announcement is of a balance patch. That doesn't bring any money to the game. It's not like they're charging for
it just makes it just brings everyone back.
It brings new
game.
life to it, but it brings
people back to the game. But this is a game that has no microtransactions. None.
Yeah, there's nothing to buy.
There's nothing to buy in this game. Nothing. There's no costumes. There's no colors. Fucking nothing.
You know what? But if a developer is still working on the game, then the game's not dead.
True.
And at the same
this game is not dead.
Yeah. So
clearly not dead.
The idea is that they just released it. It's done. It's over. The game's dead. Move on.
So
that's gone now.
That game is fucking done. And we were actually assuming that was the case.
Yeah.
So here's the funny thing. There's been an awkward amount of time in between the game coming out and them saying very little to almost nothing, to the point where we're actually at now, where they're communicating something. Yeah. And that is weird. Like, it feels like you obviously weren't working on DLC characters. That's painfully clear. You might have not even have had the budget for that shit. And maybe you now have the remaining budget left for some balance patches, if not a content update.
The timing of it being like, we're going to do a balance patch, it'll come out in late December, to me tells me like, game came out, it sold whatever amount it did. So Nexon came back and said, here's $5, in a ham sandwich. Give us a balance update,
There's a chance that Nexon...
We'll see if the game gets any sort of sales or picks up, before we commit to something extra.
And it feels even less committal than that, because Nexon and Neopal might not have even committed to future content beyond the core game at all. Yeah. And they were waiting until some time later to see how much they would want to commit. And that's how long things take in the industry. You just don't... A balance patch will take several months, right? Yeah. And they might have actually just recently come to this conclusion. Like, this actually might have been a decision made in the last couple fucking weeks.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's kind of what it feels like. And now it's like, okay, so yes, our approach going forward is going to be, we're going to change and tune the heck of the game. But here's the thing. This whole situation echoes another game that me and Steve are also very familiar with, and what they essentially did with one last balance patch before it was kind of sent to green pasture. And that was Marvel Infinite. And in MVCI, they got the big updates right around when the ending of the season 1 was done. They had the Dante nerfs, right, and the buffs to some characters and the adjustments made. But then 2 months later, in January, or maybe it was even early February, MVCI got an update that was a severe, critical balance update to core game mechanics. And guess what it did? It fixed a lot of weird things that were in the game that were going to ruin the game.
I wouldn't compare that to this because a lot of the stuff that happened with the MVCI was oh no, it was kind of like,
well,
it was
that patch acted as sort of, we get one more.
Yeah,
we get this is essentially our final chance to do something about the game and its balance. With this one last patch, what do? Let's see if we can leave the game in a state that's actually playable for years, that people would want to play. And guess what? It worked. MVCI did actually end up being a pretty damn great game after that patch, and those issues were fixed. And to be completely honest, left in a state that is that has good characters, but is the most balanced MVC game ever. This very much feels like that situation. Yeah, where they're like, we're just gonna give players crazy stuff for every character. We're gonna try to make the game as fun as possible while also already balancing and toning down some of the crazy stupid shit that exists in the game. And now here's our balance patch so that everyone can have fun with our game.
So you're thinking this is a send-off?
I think it is.
I honestly don't think so, because again, he did say that there's something else coming along with it. So we have to see what it is that he's talking about before we can say this is a send-off. I think you're jumping the gun on that.
And to me, why wouldn't you immediately tell people that it's going to be characters?
Because they probably don't know. Again, this is budget as fuck. That's what I was going to ask you. Who the fuck is paying for this?
Nexon.
Nexon, okay. Yeah. I don't know anything about the company. Do they own DNF, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they're the ones that created DNF.
They're the ones that paid for the game to be made.
Okay. And how successful is DNF in Japan? Because again, this is only stuff that's just
not successful at all in Japan.
Yikes.
So it's successful in Korea and China.
Okay.
And we have no idea. Okay. We have no idea how good this game sold.
The game, the franchise it's based on is huge.
Is huge. Okay.
In Korea and China.
Is it a card game?
No, it is a client-based like Diablo dungeon game.
Oh, okay. So
it's been around for fucking ever.
Those are pretty big.
It is a big game.
Yeah.
All things considered, if there was going to be future stuff, I think this would have been the opportunity to say, we have a balance patch coming, and we're here to announce that there will be characters. Saying which characters they are is irrelevant. Just saying that, hey, we have characters that we're making.
Yeah.
They don't say that. They say that we have like something big in the future that is going to take more time. And I have my predictions as far as what that is.
Okay.
And it lines up a lot with a lot of other fighting games right now, and even what Arc System Works is doing. I think it's crossplay. I think this game, I don't think they have the budget for more characters and stuff, because guess what the average DNF character is going to cost you? 5 to 10 million each.
But if you have a company that's making this much money off of an MMO, RPG?
No, MMO beat 'em up. They didn't make all that money by spending it on projects like this.
Of course not. Yeah, you don't make money by spending
money. Because here's the thing, this game probably sold 50 to 100,000 copies.
Maybe.
They've made billions off the other core roster.
It was a side project. It was just them testing the waters of fighting games.
And it was clear that like Cygames with Grand Blue was committing more to Grand Blue and its roster and characters initially than DNF Duel was, because DNF Duel's always been kind of rocky as far as what the future of the game is, and this is the first chance we've seen it. So to me, this, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope the game does get crossplay. I hope the game does get future support. I like this game a lot. I want to see it. I want to see new things. I want to come back and play with new shit, right? But at the same time, it feels like this is a final send-off patch, and then somewhere down the line, because we already have the tools in place to make crossplay work, we're about to get a bunch of data from it from Guilty Gear. Right? All these things are kind of in place that are lining up. I think it's a crossplay update, which obviously isn't super cheap, but it's going to be significantly cheaper than making brand new assets and creating new characters and shit like that.
Yeah,
it will be cheaper.
At this point, you got to think about whatever his next thing he's talking about is next year, more than 6 months out. What were the artists at Aiding doing that time? What were the designers at Aiding doing?
And
what were all the people you would need to make new characters doing for over half a year at that office? Nothing.
And to give you a little bit of hope, Steve, in this situation, and just what you're hoping for isn't exactly gone, right?
Yeah.
There is actually a chance that in the past few months that DNF Duel is out, then it might have exceeded the expectations that they had.
That's what
and
I'm
they
saying.
were sort of waiting to see what the initial sales were.
Because my thing is that, it's like, oh, okay, they saw the success of it, and they're like, oh, shit, we need to actually do something.
It doesn't seem that way on the outside, but we have no idea how big or important this game is, like, overseas in areas that we just don't know.
That's what you're saying, only sold a couple of 100,000 or
sure.
1,000. We don't know the fucking sales.
We have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know this.
We have no idea what they were looking for.
We know it didn't chart anywhere.
Yes. Yes. It doesn't seem great on
We know it didn't chart anywhere. We know it didn't sell good in Japan at all. We know it didn't chart in North America.
I was in Deep Copium before this happened, and now they're announcing new shit. So who's in Copium now? Got him.
To give Steve the benefit of the doubt,
Blah!
There is a chance that over the past 3 months that maybe Nexon, Neopol, whoever's pretty much piloting where the future of this game is going, might have been waiting on evaluation, where they were just like, let's do the initial thing and then we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, right, and I think that's fine.
And that's fine.
And that's smart.
That's definitely not the way fighting games usually fucking work.
Not normal, but they're new at this.
Right, it's a different company.
And then at this point,
but I'm going to tell you right now, this game probably did not blow anyone's mind sales-wise.
Especially coming from companies that are known to be kind of weird about where they spend money.
Yeah. I can understand that, but I mean, if they're making, let's say, billions of dollars off of their RPG thing or whatever like that, they got money to spend, they want to see where this goes, they see the sales, and be like, okay, it's doing around, we'll add something.
And
we'll add some shit.
No, because they're going to be like, why would I spend any money on this thing which made no money versus my cheaper billion-dollar making game over there?
Potential. That's how I think, like, to make more money off of said product that can actually become a big thing.
Here's their other product is a big thing.
Why would they even bother making this in the first place? Because they saw potential.
I'm just going to chime in here.
Okay.
What you guys are saying is true.
Yes.
And absolutely true.
And I know where Max is going with this.
Okay, where's he going?
Where I'm going with this has been something that I've been telling fans of this game when we didn't know its future for a long time. Which sounds like it makes more sense. Do you think DNF, the giant MMORPG that it is, was going to make a fighting game that we want our audience to go jump from our giant billion-dollar franchise MMORPG to go play a fighting game? Does that make sense?
No, obviously not.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
What makes sense is that we are going to make a fighting game out of our giant MMORPG billion-dollar franchise so that the people that bought this game can jump over and play our billion-dollar MMO franchise. Like, that makes a lot more sense, right? And guess what? That might have actually happened. They might have seen a significant increase of people that just give a shit about DFO from DNF Duel after this stuff came out.
Right.
That could have been some metric on the inside that they were waiting for, and maybe that fucking happened. And maybe that actually allows them to, okay, so we actually have a future. Here's a new balance update to get everyone involved and come back in. And maybe that future update that they're talking about is more characters. Well, they'll be doing more shit like that. That could be true.
Here's where I rebuttal that idea. I don't think anybody's looking at the FGC as some sort of lucrative way to let's grab all these fighting game players and get them interested in our MMORPG. Because if they want to get a big crowd, they would make DNF Duel a shooter, a first-person shooter. Because that's a way larger crowd.
Well, they had
why the hell would they get the niche fighting game?
Because DFO already has a lot of fighting game roots in it.
Sure.
The game itself is already very fighting.
Why the fighting game community when fighting game community is very niche compared to
and it's not just
MMO compared to the fucking first person shooters? We are very niche.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they had like 4 spin-off projects. This was Project Barbecue. And there was like a bunch of other genre spin-offs.
Dungeon fighter online games that they were making other things out of, and I don't even know if they came to fruition.
Right.
This one did. And I think other ones might still be in development. So in the same way that like Grand Blue, right? Okay. A game based on a giant like
anime, I think?
Japanese, not even anime, it's a giant Japanese gotcha game.
That's right, yeah.
And they made a fighting game out of it. Do you think that the fucking fighting game is here to make to make money for the or the gotcha game is here to make money for the fighting game? No, it's the other way around.
Right.
They want you to go. They want you to gotcha it the fuck up and spend all this money over there.
They're trying to pull people from different genres.
In the exact same way that Cygames made a bunch of new Grand Blue games, they have a new RPG and all this other shit happening.
Yeah.
Those guys were sitting on so much fucking money they didn't know what to do with it. They had no idea what to do with it. So they're just like, well, let's expand.
Yeah.
Let's make some more mobile games. Let's make this. You want to make a fighting game? Cool. Like essentially just handing out free budgets to everybody, but only so much.
So, okay, what's the difference between Grand Blue and this when it comes to company expectations? Because you have,
and that's where Nexon comes into play.
Right, because you have Grand Blue that's like, okay, let's make this fighting game. Oh, it's doing kind of okay. Let's add some more characters. Let's give it a budget. Let's give it some, let's keep it at it.
Sure.
Then this company does the same exact shit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh.
Side Games obviously committed to way more than it seems that Nexon committed to this
Which
game,
is
right
weird,
off the bat.
Which is fucking odd because they're attempting to grab this niche audience, which is fighting game community, and they're like, oh yeah, let's pull them over here.
And I mean, just to clarify, it isn't just the FGC.
No, it's not. No, it's
like just for clarification, it isn't just the small little bubble that is the anime FGC community. Yeah. We gotta get them. Like, that's our diamond in the rough. We're gonna grab them. We're not gonna let that anime FGC go.
We need the FGC.
We need CEO Taku specifically.
It's
gonna make us money.
I'm gonna chime in here and say this is a bit of a reach.
Okay.
But it's possible geopolitics has a place in this because Cygames is a Japanese company with a successful Japanese mobile game, and they work with Arc System Works in Japan, probably all in Tokyo.
Right.
They're all sitting there in the same city, right?
Okay.
Nexon is in South Korea.
Korea and China and stuff like that.
And Aiding is in Japan, and Arc System's in Japan, so you're having to cross country barriers,
language barriers as well,
cross language barriers, and maybe they just don't want to fucking deal with it.
And that is literally also another history that ties back to Marvel vs. Capcom, where a lot of the relationship stuff that would happen between East and West would really collide and essentially prevented those games from ever actually going anywhere. So that's why there's never been an MVC game that actually has any hit and any like future for the past 20 years. Because of differences between the way Japan works and the way America works, their goals.
Come on, we got Google now. Motherfuckers know how to understand a guy right now.
You would think that would just go away.
Come on,
you would think, but
this is 2022.
Here's a
when it comes to creative minds essentially coming together to make a project happen, you got to realize these things don't just happen for the sake of business.
Yeah.
You're dealing with now completely different people with different relationships that are completely opposite than each other because they live in completely different places, have completely different cultures.
Yeah.
And things just don't fucking work out sometimes. So we don't really know where this is going, but the three big outcomes are it's a goodbye patch. Right, maybe the last thing is like crossplay or something like that. The other chance is that they were waiting to see on metrics and performance, and did this actually help out DFO? Maybe the sales aren't great, but maybe DFO registrations were up like crazy, and they made a lot more money there.
Yeah.
That's a much big relationship that Nexon cares about, and maybe that was good. Maybe crap, they can get new balance updates and more characters. Maybe that could happen. The other chance is that it's a balance patch, it's a thank you. And you can buy a t-shirt. Maybe that t-shirt is what they're spending years on. For 6 more months. Who knows? Yeah. I think there's a good chance that the game is not actually done. If the game was done, it would have been that last, hey, thank you for playing Dungeon Fighter Online.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they probably planned it, however many months of support out, at least as far as like balancing and patching goes. When they made the game, it was probably in the deal like, okay, well, you'll release the game.
And they've already done that.
You'll keep it updated.
They've had two updates
for the rest of the year, maybe the fiscal year or whatever. But again, looking at it as a whole, to not ever once utter the breadth of the word battle pass, season pass, DLC, extra character at all, and then you're going to go past 6 months without a single content update. And then,
it's weird.
And then you're gonna say sometime next year, getting close to a year later,
somebody in the chat,
we're gonna have a DLC character. I just don't buy it.
Somebody in the chat had a really poignant idea. What if they're making the game free to play?
Which I don't understand why it wasn't to begin with.
Exactly. I mean, that's what everyone's criticism was after the game came out.
You know what?
That it felt like a free-to-play game because it's based on a complete giant billion-dollar free-to-play franchise.
If anything, the best thing would be their update is they turn the game free to play.
Yeah, how they do that, I don't know, man, because you have to create a complete different environment that supports free-to-play, that supports monetization.
Is you nuke the game, the version available right now, right? And then you basically, and for everyone who owns it, it's you download a big update. But the update's just downloading the new version of the game. Yeah. Your save data will say, you bought everything, you have all characters unlocked, right?
Yeah.
Now, the version that everyone else downloads on free-to-play has one character in free rotation, and then everyone else, every single character is $5, right? Yeah. But anyone like us who bought it we're going to update the game, which is just deleting it and putting a new version of the game in with all the free-to-play mechanics on it. And then it's like this. And then what they do from that is they go and they say, if this causes a resurgence, if this starts making actual serious money, we'll come back to this now and say, like, okay, now let's add some characters because we have a consistent flow of money coming in. But we're not, because they probably looked at the 3 months of sales this game has had and probably looked at it and said, this game sold like dirt. It did. And probably said, well, this is not enough to justify dumping more money into it. Let's see if we can push it to free to play because they saw fucking Multiverses in July come out 2 weeks after this game and top of the fucking charts. And that's a free to play game.
That point, I think, is what starts to make a lot. I mean, and here's the thing: you have to start asking yourself, how aware would Nexon Neopol Arc System Works be about that? Right? Yeah. Would they essentially be even aware of that situation? Because we don't know. We don't know how that side of the industry between Korean relations and Japanese development is even aware that, there's a very high likelihood that DNF Duel tanked because Multiverses was huge. Like between its beta phase that was happening right before its official launch, and then it made record-breaking numbers, and they probably made a fucking ridiculous amount of money. Their number count isn't so high now, but that doesn't matter because they essentially got their beginning that they'll essentially be able to make it even bigger when they add more stuff.
Here's the thing. Multiverses is a game where the consumer didn't have to pay for it. So how did that take away from DNF when they need consumers to pay?
Because no one's going to sit there and be like, no, new fighting game Multiverses, free to play. Cool. What the hell
Cost me nothing.
What's DNF Duel? $50? What the hell is this? I don't know.
Because guess what?
Their rival would be a game that actually has a pay.
And here's the funny thing: DNF Duel does not have a positive review section on Steam. It's got a lot of reviews, but its reviews are mixed. And you know what the biggest criticism of the game is? The fact that it costs $50. The fact that it doesn't have the content that people
warrants for $50
would be pretty much expecting from a fighting game, which is a weird concern to me because DNF Duel doesn't specifically lack the content of fighting games before it. It doesn't. It doesn't really lack the content of even KOF.
People expect more out of their fighting games nowadays.
Because Multiverses came out. Because shit changed. People were now getting more for literally nothing. Literally getting full experiences for quite literally nothing.
But I mean, Multiverses doesn't have like a single player mode and a fucking story mode and shit.
It doesn't, but it costs nothing.
I get that, but
do you think that the single player modes of fighting games that have come before this game, between KOF or even DNF Duel games that are recent, I think those are worth $60 either?
No,
not really, man. But here's the thing: is that at this point we've kind of gotten to the point where we're expecting more out of our fighting games because what are other fighting games doing? Well, Street Fighter 6 is like 7 fucking games in one.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat games are like 7 fucking games in one.
It's just content.
And now the expectation of what fighting games should be giving you has changed, as it fucking should, because they've been the same shit for like 10 years for the most part, and the other ones that are doing well are the ones that have done other shit. Have actually expanded and provided more than just what the base experience is.
Add more stuff to it.
To me, that I think that's another possibility, that the game could just be going free to play, or maybe free to try, which would be enough, right?
Here's the thing.
They
else?
Turn it free to play next year, and then they start making money. And then if they make enough money, they go,
and all right, the toughest part is monetizing at that point.
Here's the thing. What the fuck has Nexon actually... What else have they worked on?
Many
so many things. There are billions of dollars.
Many MMOs.
So they've had they're
mobile games and everything, dude. They're fucking huge. You don't hear them because they're overseas.
I'm wondering, how did they treat their other products? How did they treat their other projects?
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact relationship, but I can tell you from what the chat will immediately say, not good.
Okay.
Like the support and the not good. You do not want to know. Okay. So that's why I was saying earlier, it isn't really outside of the wheelhouse of these companies down here in the way they treat their franchises. It really isn't weird. It really isn't weird that this would essentially be like a low budget kind of send-off patch where we're also going to offer crossplay because it's kind of all we can do.
Yeah.
And it's probably better that we would add crossplay than add a character.
Well, they made MapleStory. MapleStory is huge.
It is huge, but I mean, you have to also ask, it isn't just big, is the way that they treated Maple Story
How
good.
do they?
And I'm going to assume the chat will have their impressions of, chat, is Nexon treated Maple Story great? I'm going to wait for the answers in 3, 2. Oh, they shut down Maple Story too.
Nice.
No, the answer is nope, hell no. They effed over Maple Story fans.
Nice.
I'm shocked.
Right.
I'm shocked.
Enjoy the game you have.
And that's a nice thing.
It's a nice game.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
It's a nice game.
And it, like I said, it's weird that we got a fighting game that feels like it was released in the mid-2000s with no patches or anything.
Yeah.
Right? It is weird. But that's actually not the case. This might be the send-off, and it might actually even be a hint that they will be doing more stuff in the future. Yeah. And either way, I'm fucking happy, right? I'll take anything. I'll take anything, man. I'm just lucky that KI got 4 years of support, okay? I would not be surprised if Multiverses had an effect. And was also an ultimate reason that DNF Duel kind of went through a demise around that time frame. A couple weeks after it came out, because Multiverses was pretty much launching right in their official beta state. So that's a really good point. And I could even is that going to be the thing that saves the game? I don't know, man. I don't have all the fucking answers. I've just had so much hindsight in this situation in these games for the past 10, 20 years of practically covering it professionally that, all the writing is on the floor that, I made an obvious video before this came out.
Dark Souls scribble.
Yeah, I was sitting here scribbling some shit on the floor.
Dark Souls.
And the scribble said, I don't know about DNF Duel, man. And I'll let somebody click that later. And it was literally a video that I made before the game came out. And it was like, I don't know if this game's going to do super well. Unless it has amazing single player content. I don't fucking know, dude.